What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rapheal Davis podcast. Today we got a legendary guest. We have the most. He was called the most prolific prep player in basketball in the area, in that Peoria area, coming out of Illinois into Purdue. So I assume one of the best players out of Peoria, one of the most highly touted players coming into Purdue. A legend in my eyes, someone that came back to Purdue at a time where we really needed a voice. Someone that's done it, someone that wasn't a coach, someone that we could kind of listen to and kind of take advice. Someone I learned a lot from. Welcome everybody, Mike Robinson.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's good to be here, man.
Glad to have you, Mike. But Mike, we're just gonna jump right in. How's everything right now? I know you're coaching, so you're coaching now in Virginia. How's that during COVID?
It was tough. I honestly didn't think we were going to have a season this year because we weren't able to get in the gym all summer, all fall. And then they even pushed back our start date to allow us to get back in the gym. And then December 7th, they said, here you go. The season starts. First game, December 23rd. So we just jumped right into it. So tomorrow's our first game. Trying to go out there and defend a state championship that we got last year.
How was that? How was that winning the state championship on this side of it as a coach now?
Man, it's totally different, man. Like I have no control. Like I can give them all the information in the world, and it's up to them to do it. Like I see everything that's going on, but it's like, man, it's different. Like it's a lot more nerve wracking.
Right.
You know, going through it. You know, as a coach, you lose one is always thinking what adjustments you could have made or what you could have done different. You find yourself second guessing yourself, even when you win games. Sometimes, like, damn, I made this a lot harder than it needed to be.
Right.
And so it's a whole game within itself now.
No, yeah, no doubt. And then just how much do you think being a player and playing at such a high level like you did, playing at Purdue, playing overseas, how much did that help you as a coach?
I will say that it helps. It helps a lot. So I can see what they see sometimes, and I can feel what they're going through. Mm-hmm. So it's easier for me to break stuff down and talk to them and help them get through stuff. And also it helps them knowing that, you know, you had a coach that played at a high level. They know I'm not going to put them through things that I didn't go through.
Right.
And I'm not going to make them, you know, you've been there before. You get to practice, you do some unnecessary drills. You don't feel like, man, I don't know why you're doing this, man. But as a coach, you see why you do it. So now when I explain it, I always give them the why. Like, this is why we're doing it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just doing it and we didn't get the information, you go out there. I know Coach Keady used to have us run through a wall sometimes. He's like, man, why are we doing this today? And, you know, now I can explain things a lot better because I've been through it.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No, that makes a perfect sense. And Mike, I know a lot of our listeners, a lot of longtime Purdue fans, a lot of new Purdue fans. So I definitely want to go back to the 90s. But before we do that, I want to talk about just because I know you're not from Indiana. So a lot of fans don't necessarily know your background, where you come from. Just talk about kind of where you started playing basketball, how it was growing up in the Peoria area. Go from there.
Wow. I still say that Peoria area when I first came out, it seemed like every team, once I got to Purdue, every team had somebody from a Big Ten, you know, from Peoria team. You know, you go A.J. Guyton, you know, Illinois had 3 of them. Michigan had 1. Northwestern had one or 2. So like it was like every other night was like Wisconsin had 1. So every other night it was a reunion, you know, to see those guys on the floor. But it was tough. It was a tough area. It was a great basketball area then. Right. There was no nights off. You know, you guarding Frank Williams to A.J. Guyton to Bo Smith, who played at Louisville, to Jerry Hesher, Illinois, and Marcus Griffin, Sergio McLean, and Shaw. It was loaded. Like every night, it was just like, man. And I made sure that I was going to score 30. I was going to get my 30.
Yeah.
So, because I was going to get my bragging rights on them. But no, it was fun, man. We made each other better. You know, I was one of those. You know, I can honestly say there was no like hard feelings between none of us. We seen each other off the floor. It was nothing but respect. We played pickup in the summertime. We, you know, sometimes we was on each other's team and we went 100 miles an hour, but, you know, we made each other better. And it was so funny because even when I was in high school, I had somebody like Shawn Livingston that was my ball boy.
Right.
So it was different. You know, Shawn coming to practice.
Talk about how like a kid like Shawn Livingston growing up, seeing guys at your level. I mean, no matter where you first round draft pick or not, to be the best high school player in the town, go to Purdue, you're a celebrity. So tell me how important that is for kids to be able to see someone of your stature like Shawn Livingston saw you guys.
Oh man, one thing I always took pride in was going hard every day. Shawn seen that. I was a kind of crazy competitor. Like I hated to lose. I didn't care if it was open gym game. Like, I didn't like to lose because I always felt like I had a target on my back, and I wore it with pride.
Right.
So I wanted to be the best in the gym every day, and Shawn saw that. And I remember he was a 6th or 7th grader. Like he would be over there playing with the freshmen. He would go hard all the time, and you knew he was going to be really good. I mean, at the time he had this big old watermelon head and his little body, and you can tell like the kid he loved the game of basketball, and he played it different from anybody else.
Right.
So you knew how good he was going to be, and he soaked up everything. He was a sponge. You know, he would come to the gym like where we're from. Each high school would have open gym at night.
Right.
So AJ Guide and Sergio McClain, everybody would be in our open gym, and Shawn would be there, just soaking everything up. We going at it, and he just soaking it up. Asked 100 questions too. His father would be there. So, Shawn wasn't afraid to ask questions.
Right.
Like I remember sitting down with him for like hours just talking basketball with him.
Right. That's what's up. No, that's that's a lot. That's a lot of history. That's a lot of important history. So to be a part of legacy is always a good thing. But for you, when did you start getting recruited? I guess, was it Coach Keady who came to recruit you, or what's that process like?
I started getting recruited when I was in 8th grade. 8th grade, actually, I was playing with I was on a good AAU team, but at this time, my high school went on like a shootout, like a more shootouts, one of these big time shootouts. The top 30, 32 teams in Illinois go to it. I'm only in 8th grade, so I wasn't supposed to play, but I ended up playing anyway. Like he put me out there, and I was scoring 15, 18 as an 8th grader on a varsity level. And Frank Kendrick was there,
right?
And Frank was there. I built a really good relationship with him, and during that process, and I kind of fell in love with Purdue when I was in like 8th grade, 9th grade. Thanks to Big Dog, because he was my favorite player growing up.
Right. So watching Big Dog, so it's kind of when you got introduced to Purdue. I guess you say you've talked with Coach Kendrick, you watching Big Dog. When it's time, I guess you take recruiting seriously. Was it no-brainer? Is Purdue all the way? Did you even consider other schools, or?
Honestly, it was Purdue all the way. I considered, a few schools, but at the end of the day, my heart was always, with the black and gold, from day one, and it was something that I had some struggles at Purdue, but that was family, and I wanted to stay there. So I had that one time. Did I ever think about leaving because things wasn't going the way that I wanted it to go? It was home. So I've been wanting to go to Purdue since I was in 9th grade. So, it was one of those things where like, I'm going to ride this out. And then my senior year, we had a hell of a year, went to the Elite 8, should have went to the Final Four. I still see Wisconsin right now on TV. I turn the station because I can't stand them. So I'm turning the station. So it was, that was a hard loss.
Right. What was that like, though? Because I know, especially even when you came back to Purdue while I was a sophomore, that was the first year Brantley was on staff. So I got to hear a lot of those stories about how just good those teams were. What was that like? Because you come in right after they had just won 3 in a row, right?
Yeah.
How was that? What was the culture like after winning 3 championships in a row? You're a highly touted freshman too.
Well, I came in with a great group of guys, man. Dron Cornell, Gary McQuay, Brian Cartner was a redshirt freshman then. So we were talented. We just didn't know what the hell we were doing as a freshman,
Right.
You get thrown into the, that water when you're a freshman and you walk into the Big Ten season and it's different. Like I used to tell people then, that Big Ten back then was different. It was a whole lot of vets. And I'm walking in as a freshman. And, I had to take my lumps, didn't matter how talented I was. I'm trying to jog through the paint and I'm getting hit upside the head for no reason, just on a bump. I'm like, man, come on, man. I was a star last year. I used to get that call. Now it's like, man, this is different. But, the culture was there. That was one thing that, you never had to worry about because Coach Keady and Coach Weber and those guys put together a culture that, we worked hard no matter what. And we played for each other. And that was the same way for 4 years. We had the ups and downs the first year. The second year, my sophomore year was actually really good. Got the number 2 seed, and I think we lost to Stanford in the Sweet 16. But we were good that year as well.
What's that like at that time playing in Mackey? I know that's the old Mackey, and you see those videos. Because I've had some good times in Mackey, but what was your experiences like?
It was the first time. Didn't matter who we played, whether it was Northwestern or one of those preseason games, exhibition where, you play against, Florida A&M and you're going to beat them by 60 anyway. Yeah. And you walk out there, it was 14-123 every night. And that was different no matter who we played. The crowd showed up. It could be a blizzard. Somehow that stadium was filled every night. Yeah. And, you remember the games against Indiana where, you could hear Coach Keady 10 miles away. But when you play against IU or Illinois and Michigan State, and he's yelling, you're like, yeah, Coach, I really don't know what you're saying, man, because I can't hear you. Crowd going crazy. We just like, okay, I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, yeah, I hear you. But the crowd was so good, and, it was, they had the shirts off and, painted and everything. It was, where the crowd would, the visiting team would walk through the tunnel, and they're yelling stuff at the visiting team. Oh, it was different. It was different.
That's what's up. No,
hell, we had the band. The band used to yell at, because the band would be right here as well. Yeah. So you had members of the band at the team too. So it was crazy.
That's wild. So no, you played on, like you said, you played on some really good teams. Give us one of your because I got some questions for myself, but normally we take a few questions from Twitter. But this is one from Twitter. Give us your favorite Coach Keady story. Like favorite game or practice, whatever you can give us.
I probably can't do it on what's name, but no, man, it's so many. Man, it's so. Oh, I got one. The managers one day, they always messed up, like with the clock. Coach Keady come in with his game plan. This is what we're gonna do at 10:50 and 11 o'clock, and so sometimes he would get off script. And he would get mad at the coaches for not making, letting him know or being aware of the time.
Right.
And so, coach was just, going on a rant one day. And he blew his whistle and said, all the coaches get on the damn line. And we looking around, what? So next thing you know, Coach Weber, Coach Kendrick, Jay Price, and the manager, Andrew, got on the line and ran. We all laughing, everybody clapping up because you know how it is a competitive drill. When one team wins, the other team is clapping it up, laughing. Yeah. So now we had the whole team just yelling and clapping, and Brian Cardinal going crazy because the coaches are doing a 6 and 30 or whatever. It was hilarious. It was hilarious.
Dang.
So that was one, and there was a few more.
That's tough, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it was, but no, it was a couple 6 a.m. Practices where, I remember myself and Jerron Cornell was in the football over there in Malakoff, the football stadium, and we on there on suicides on the football field. Goodness gracious, I don't think I ever missed another class after that.
Dang, no, that's real. No, that's a dang man, that's real. But no, 3 or 4 years, I mean, not only did you play on some real good teams, but you just played with some real good players. I mean, you played with Brian Cardinal, you played with Brad Miller. So
Brad Miller, Chad Austin.
I'm always going right to it, and I know a lot of folks don't ask these type of questions, but who was your best teammate you played with?
As a person or as a
at Purdue? Who was the best player you played with at Purdue?
Oh, Brad Miller. Brad Miller, like. Sometimes we get mad at Brad because we act like he's lazy sometimes, but get him in the game, man, he could pass, catch, soft hands, shoot the jumper, play D. It was like, I would get, I would get beat back door at least twice a game, and Brad would be back there cleaning it up for me. So, he made me look good. And then if I cut, he put it right there. And he knew how to set the screens. He knew every play from every position, could handle it. Like Brad was really good, man. Chad Austin was really good too.
Oh yeah, I heard those stories.
Brian was great too, man. Like it was hard to just pick one. Brian was great. Jerron Cornell was great. And then we all, we all were, really good off the court as well with each other.
Yeah. Nobody ever seems to choose one, because I mean everybody always seems to love their guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, and especially now that you get older, you can look back on your relationships with them and how you guys were and how you guys played together. It's kind of hard to pick one. But if I had to say like the best, it was Brad Miller. Like he was that good though.
No doubt. So now you one more question just about your time at Purdue. What's that like, North Carolina? That's one of the stories you told me. How was that playing against North Carolina? That's something that kids grow up thinking about. And I know they had a couple NBA players on that team. What was that like that going into it?
First of all, I like my time. Like, there's not too many schools we didn't beat when I was at Purdue. But we were 0-3 versus North Carolina. Mm-hmm. But that name, like they carried that, that pride well back then. Mm-hmm. But I remember we played them in the Alaska shootout. We lost them in overtime in the Alaska shootout, where they had Vince Carter and all those guys. And I remember playing it against them. I was like, man, I probably could have had 16, 18 easy. Mm-hmm. But that was probably the first game of my whole life. I didn't even think about scoring. My whole night, I was just saying, man, I am not going to be on ESPN. Vince is not going to dunk on me. He's not going to do it. I'm not going to be that guy. Yeah. And so that's the only game I probably didn't help much. I was like, man, whatever. I'm not going to be on TV. So I said, so that was one game that I was like, nah, I'm not even looking at the rim today. I'm going to pass, get back on defense. This ain't going to happen today, not today. So, yeah, that was a fun thing.
I always enjoyed that story, man. I always, because you said it the same exact way 7 years ago.
Nah, I'm telling you, man, because that was a time where you turn the TV on, man. He's catching lobs, dunking on Tim Duncan, everything else, man. I'm like, nah, man, not today. Not gonna be me. One day, and I'm glad because right now, I coach high school basketball, and my high school kids, they still come in, yo, coach, they send in games in the group chat of, when I was back in the day playing or whatever. And could you imagine if they got their hands on a Vince Carter putting me out? Oh, nah. I wouldn't be able to live that down.
Oh, man, that's hilarious.
I wouldn't live that down.
That's where I appreciate all that. And then, Mike, when you left Purdue, I know you played overseas for a while. How was that? Where did you play? And where did you enjoy playing the most? All of that.
I played 13 years overseas. I started off in Italy. And then Italy, I went to Argentina for like 12 years, man. And got my citizenship there, played, and made a career out of it. I had a great time. I learned another language and adapted to another culture, and it was great times.
What about Argentina made you kind of say this is going to be it?
Honestly, at that time when you start playing, man, you just want a job. You know what I'm saying? You just want a job. Your whole life you want to be a professional basketball player. So you just, happy with any job that you can get, play, and make some good money playing.
Right.
But then after you go there for 2 years and you get other offers to go across the nation, across the world and play, it's like, nah, I'm good here. Like I've adjusted to the culture. I'm starting to understand the language. And I'm not as homesick anymore, right, because I've adjusted to the culture and everything. So I'm not up at night, calling my family, talking to them, getting me off the ledge. So I'm good here. So, once you do that and you adjust it, people know who you are. You can start having conversations. It became my home away from home. So, I remember my first couple of years, I couldn't wait to the Christmas break or what break because I was running home.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where, like, if I get my ticket today or tomorrow to go home, I'm good either way. And it was one of those, I was comfortable. I was comfortable and got back to shooting the ball every time. So, when somebody lets you shoot the ball as much as you want, you're going to tend to stay there.
Oh no, Let me ask you a question. I've heard this before. I never asked nobody to see if it was true or not. But I heard once, I forget who I heard from one of the older players. I think maybe from the 80s. He played for Keady. I can't remember who. But did Coach Keady really give out colors of like a stoplight, like red, green, yellow? Was that true?
Oh yeah.
You get,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He did. I wasn't green. I was always between the yellow and the green.
Yeah.
I was red though. I was never red.
So red really means you just can't shoot the ball? What?
No, red means you better not even look at the rim. Red means you better not look at the rim. Red means is you better get a putback and that's it. A putback and that's it. Oh yeah. That's
so
one thing about
what type of guys had the green? Just all green, fluorescent. Anybody ever have just a fluorescent green?
Oh yeah, Conzo, Zoe and them, Zoe Dog and them had. I mean, there was blue.
Okay.
But like my senior year, mine was kind of green. Like my sophomore year was kind of green. I had a bad junior year, so it might have been almost yellow and red my junior year. But my senior year, my sophomore year, it was almost green.
Purdue, like, did you know like he was giving out colors when you were being recruited, or did that something you got hit with?
Well, it was something you got hit with, and honestly, I earned whatever I got because that's the colors. But coming out of high school, and I walked in there, my light was green as I don't know what because they knew what I was coming out.
Right.
Yeah. So but the thing about it, it's like Jerron Cornell had a green one. Like every time he was open, he was supposed to shoot it because he shot so well.
Right.
So it was one of those. You understood it because you see it every day in practice.
Right.
So you knew your role. Your role was, so if you were red, you took pride in doing the dirty work.
Right.
So it wasn't a knock like everybody thought it was, but you took pride in the dirty work.
Know your role type of thing.
Yeah, you took pride in the dirty work.
Yeah, and before I know you gotta get to practice, and before we get out of here, maybe two more things. Just tell our listeners your favorite IU game if you have one, or the one that comes to mind.
The one that comes to mind was my freshman year at IU. Chad Austin hit a bank shot off the like we was losing the whole game. Somehow we come back and win this sucker. Chad Austin hit a game winner buzzer at IU. Like IU fans was ready to run on the floor. Right, we had this big guy like 7'2" from Holland. His name was Matt Tindam. So I remember fans just running on the court like mad at us or whatever. IU fans, this dude, man, he was huge. Man, he knocked everybody over, like kicking everybody, pushing everybody. He cleared the whole way for us to run into the locker room, man. Because we was trying to celebrate on their floor and the fans wasn't having it, and so they ran onto the floor. Next, I see Matt stomping on people, walking out. We like. And so we celebrating, and next, everybody's laughing because he cleared everybody out of the way, man. Dang. Cleared everybody out the way. Oh yeah,
that's what's up.
Oh yeah,
I know people gonna like to hear that story right there, man.
Oh man, that was hilarious.
Tell it, Mike. I know we started off you telling everybody if you won a state championship last year, you're coaching high school ball.
You're breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
Come back and repeat that. Yeah, I hear you now. Repeat that for me.
I just said that like we started off, you tell everybody high school ball, won state championship last year. Kind of tell everybody where you plan to go, kind of where they can find you, where they can reach you, so they can watch your progress.
Yeah, you can always find me at South County, BBB. That's our high school. We've won 2 out of the last 3 state championships. We have a good chance to win another one. We're in the biggest class in Virginia, 6A. I'm just having fun, man. I got a good group of guys. I got a couple of Division I basketball players on this team. Commits to Mount St. Mary's. So we're pretty good. I kind of mimic myself with the family, attitude and mentality that I got from Purdue. Where I'm going, I have no idea. One day I hope to make that jump to be a college assistant somewhere, but I think I still got some more learning to do on this level. And actually I enjoy the kids that I have, so it's going to be hard for me to make that jump. Right. Because I enjoy molding kids at a younger level and teaching them things that I wish I would have known from day one to give them that advantage that I didn't have.
Right.
Yes, I was a talented basketball player, but I don't think I was mature enough and understood the game well enough to go be a highly productive, college basketball player or student.
Right. And last thing we got someone that's played at a high level, someone that's seen NBA guys, someone that's coached Division I guys, that's seen it play professionally 13 years. What advice would you give an elementary baller? I had a fourth grader in the gym last night. He told me I want to go to the NBA. What advice you giving him or her?
The most important advice, one, you got to do the right things every day. Whether it's what I mean by the right things every day, it doesn't necessarily mean basketball, right? Because I feel if you take care of your schoolwork and do the right things that you're supposed to do, the basketball comes easy. It gives your mind the freedom to get better on the court every day, right? So if you're constantly thinking about homework that you didn't do, assignments that you do, so now your mind isn't clear to be the best basketball player you can that day. And also tell people, just fall in love with the game. You know what I'm saying? Fall in love with the game, not just certain parts of it. Fall in love with the whole ideal of basketball, the defense, the passing, the overall game. Just don't work on one thing because back where I was from, yes, I was just a scorer. But now the game has changed so much that you have to do everything on both ends of the floor and take pride in it. And take pride in it and keep your mind open for adjustments and understanding. Take what you say to heart and every other training that you work and add some of everything to your game. Don't be one dimensional.
No, that's a great spot to end on. No, that's real. I appreciate that. I know young people appreciate that across the world. Mike, thank you for what you did at Purdue, for coming back. Like a lot of people don't know, Mike came back the year we come in last place of the Big Ten, but tough year. After that year, we didn't even go into that. But after that year, Mike stuck around. I know after that season was over, I know we spent a lot of time together in the gym just talking and whatnot. But I remember one day randomly you just came up to me, said, "Hey man, you can't slick a can of oil." And it was stuff like that that always stuck with me to this day. So you made me a better leader. You kind of showed me what it's like to do things, kind of handle myself in a certain way. But now, Mike, we appreciate you from Purdue. We appreciate you from my family across the nation. So thank you, Mike. We wish you for the season.
All right, have a good one.